All right, I just got done with episode 3 of the new season, so I'm stopping right here. Going to finish the series tonight, do my full review later. This is my first reaction to the episodes dropping on Thursday?
Correct!
That sounds right. If you all don't know, this is one of my favorite shows on TV. I thought season 3 was great. Some highs, maybe 1 or 2 lows. Too many things going on, this and that, but overall, it's worked extremely well. So, in this new season, here's what's going on so far without spoilers, just some general overview. Homelander, he lasered someone's head at the end of season 3, so obviously he's facing repercussions for that. And a lot of the things we see with he and his supporters, we got a glimpse at that at the end of season 3, but it's full on this side versus this side, mimicking right versus left this season, and the political satire, I would say, is at an all-time high. Maybe too much so far. It's like I watch this show as an escape, and I love the fact that they're making fun of the things that we see in real life, but this season, they're still making fun of it. It's still satire, but there's a lot of it going on, and they're clearly mimicking real-life events that have happened recently, and at a point, it just feels like they're going overboard with that. It's like, we understand what you're trying to say. And there's something so great about how they've said it so far, but I do believe this season is trying a little too hard to mimic the things that we're seeing. And it's like, dude, I watch this show as an escape, and we get that for the most part in season 4 so far. But those scenes and those moments that you can clearly put one-to-one to the events that have happened recently, and it's like, oh, obviously this is the right, obviously this is the left, and I'm just like, I want to get away from that, or I want you to make fun of it. And they are making fun of it.
You sure about that? You sure about that? That's why?
But they're also leaning too heavily on that for audiences to go, oh, that's what they're doing. Especially in episode 1. And so that gets me to the 2 new characters. Firecracker, and she's portrayed as this right-wing nut, and everything that she says, from vaccines to the way that, they perceive the conservative, the overboard conservative thinking, that's what her character is. And at first I was like, that's what they're doing. And by the time we get more into her character, I'm like, all right, we get it. It's almost like it's lacking creativity, trying too hard to be funny, if that makes sense. But I'm getting all of my complaints out of the way, if you can't tell. Sister Sage, she is the smartest person in the room, literally, and she tests Homelander, and she gets him to that point to where he's about to snap, but he doesn't because there's something interesting about her to him, and she joins the crew as well. So 2 new characters amongst the 7, but really the entire 7 at this point is getting a lot of fleshing out. A-Train and the Deep, their storylines play heavily, especially A-Train in the first 3 episodes. There's something about his mentality and just kind of the way that he's feeling right now that doesn't quite match up with the way he's felt in the past, and so we really get to explore his character. I found him to be one of the most interesting parts of the first 3 episodes. And then obviously back to Homelander, what he's doing this season, menacing as always, but he's really going through it. All the characters this season are going through it. And so because of that, you don't get necessarily the excitement in the first 3 episodes, maybe that I was expecting, but what they are going through, I think, is bringing depth to a lot of their characters, Homelander specifically, dealing with his son, how he's feeling there, but also the internal struggle that he's going through, along with his unhinged nature. On the other side of things, you got the boys, Frenchie and Kimiko. I do believe they're trying to do too much with Frenchie's character, because there's that struggle, like that will they, won't they with he and Kimiko, but also another character that's come along, created kind of an emotional struggle for him, which is interesting to a point, but at the same time, it just feels like they're trying to do too much. It feels like they're trying to shoehorn a lot into this season so far that is making it feel like it's not paced as well. You got Mother's Milk, who's kind of leading the crew now because Butch is dealing with some health stuff, and he's also just kind of in the way, and it feels like nobody except for Huey wants him around anymore, and so he's dealing with that, while Huey is dealing with some emotional things, while Starlight is having to go through all the people that are supporting her, but she doesn't want to be Starlight anymore. And it feels like every character has such an immense struggle in this season so far that could ultimately resolve once I get into episode 4, but at the same time, man, there's just a lot to parse through, and that's creating some pacing issues amongst the first 3 episodes, especially episode 2. Now again, I sound overly negative here. There's a lot of really fun things that are happening in this season so far, especially with Butch and Homelander and kind of that division, how they're kind of fighting for their son, Homelander's son, but Butch sees him that way as well. He's also going into a different place to try to fight the Supes, and so it's not just the boys anymore. He has his own storyline. Really, everyone kind of has their own storyline. We're getting introduced to a lot of characters here, and you have those over-the-top moments. Now, they've promised some crazy moments that we've never seen so far. I've not gotten there yet, but there are some standouts, right? The ice skating sequence, once you see that, yeah, it was insane, and it was really fun. Over-the-top blood, gore, and violence, which I've seen people on Twitter getting sick of. I'm not. Keep it going. Keep that going. Don't stop.
That's what she said.
Ashley, she's always going through it, but really in this season, Sister Spice, again, is such a fascinating addition. I like Starlight's storyline, and it's not that I'm completely against the political commentary. That's fine. It's just they're doing a lot of it, and it's not necessarily working in the show's favor. That being said, this war between the right side in this universe and Starlight's side in this universe is fascinating, and that's creating some interesting character dynamics, and people looking at Homelander as a hero, it does make him a more interesting character because he's really going through it, man. And he continues to get away with what he gets away with, but at the same time, you're like, man, there's something about him. I just want to keep watching that storyline. If this was all about Homelander, I'd be cool with it because you have so many things going on, but it's creating some fascinating dynamics. And so, again, I just wanted to give you guys my initial reaction. I haven't really had time to think or formulate a review just yet. That's going to happen after I see the whole season. But let me know, would you like me to cover this season episode by episode? Would you like me to talk spoilers? We can do that. We'll probably be talking spoilers over on the Movie Mode podcast this weekend for the premiere episodes, and then I'm going to dive into the rest of the season, man. I love this show. Season 4, not off to a rocky start, not as compelling as I've been in seasons past, but there's some great things happening. I think there's a great possibility here. This could turn into an awesome season with some of these storylines set up. So, need to know where your all's heads are at. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this first reaction, you want more things like it, drop that thumbs up, and I'll see you soon.